over 5 years, which I'm a childhood cancer survivor. I had leukemia. So I really should have been a lot more proactive, and not going to the doctor for 5 years is something that's not very good. And I got criticized a little bit for that. But I felt kind of overwhelmed. I was at my pediatrics for so long, and I knew everyone there, and I was very, very comfortable. And then it was like, okay, you have to leave. You have to transition and go somewhere new. I was like, how do I do that? Like, where do I go? How do I start this? And I felt it was so much, and it was kind of, there were definitely some things that were done well, and there were some things that, could have been better. I wish, obviously, it was a very, long process. It was great they told me ahead of time, you need to transition. It was great that I was informed of that instead of being like, okay, you're 18, bye. But having like a process or a checklist or a step-by-step, some kind of concrete steps I needed to do. Maybe starting when I was, like 12 or 14, you're like, okay, you have to start thinking about this, asking me, what medications are you taking, and what are some of the long-term effects that you need to be aware of? What are some of the areas that you need to advocate for yourself for? Just really, my mom always said, you need to own your health history. And I'm just doing that now. And I should have known all these things and been able to be independent with it and know this is what I need, this is what I should be doing at a much younger age. So I think that the analogy that I think of it is, when I was in high school, they were preparing you for college. So your sophomore year, you're supposed to do these certain things. Your junior year, you're supposed to do these certain things. And I just remember having this nice little checklist. Being like, okay, I need to look at school. I need to take my SATs. And as transitioning, it would have been really helpful for me to have something like that, to know that, okay, at 16, you should be thinking about this. Maybe start looking, for some places you might need to transition. Start contacting some providers, or talking to doctors, or trying to establish a rapport with someone, because I have a lot of anxiety, and I really need to feel comfortable. It takes a long time for me to feel comfortable in a relationship with a person. So to have me transition and meet someone was going to be very anxiety inducing for me. So if it had been a smoother process, I would have felt more comfortable and more accepted and understood, I think. One of the good things was that my pediatrician did say, I want to prepare a health summary for you, and so that your new provider will be able to look at this and understand kind of like a snapshot of some of the main things, which I was like, oh, that sounds great, but I didn't ever see it. I don't know what it says. I wish that I think maybe collaborating on it, working together, having it be kind of a working document that we started, a couple years before, so that I knew what those main points were. My input, I think, would have been really beneficial in that, because anytime I didn't, know something, I was like, oh, Mom, what do I do? What do I put on this? I don't know the answer to this. So, I think in a way to make me feel more empowered and really knowing how to advocate for myself and how to take these steps and feeling, strong to be able to think I can handle it. There's a lot of, I'm someone who I've always, done well in school. I'm an organized person, so I kind of felt there was an assumption made that, oh, well, you've got this. Like, you're going to be fine. You'll figure it out. Here, look at our website. Here's a packet. And I was like, oh, yeah, if you say I'll be fine, then I'll be fine. But in my head, I was like, I'm not fine. I don't know what I'm doing. And what teenager is going to admit when someone says, oh, you can do this? No one's going to say, actually, I can. You're just going to say, okay, and, let your pride control it. So, I think that sometimes, the youth kind of, sometimes for me, I feel like I was kind of on my own, a little bit unsure and overwhelmed, and so it would have, there are a lot of things that could have been easier for me to feel if it had been done earlier, there's more concrete steps to make it a smoother process for me to really be able to know what I needed to realize about my own health history, what I would need in the future, and to be more independent and not just be able to turn to mom and ask her the questions, maybe leaving an appointment and say they ask me questions about something, and then I would need to, you know, fill something out or answer it or know that that was something I needed to know, instead of just sitting there with a questionnaire with mom and just, oh, she tells me the answers, I fill it out, I sign it, and then I give it to them. So I really think that's the takeaway messages I want to give, is just really try to empower the patient and realize that, you know, there are different capabilities and different levels of anxiety and different thoughts. Some people are, you know, some youth with, you know, special health care needs might be not anxious about it. Maybe they won't be like, oh, it's fine, not a big deal. But some might have a lot of anxiety and they might not show it. Some might, so just keep that in mind. You know, everyone's going to handle this differently, and just, you know, try to be aware, be understanding of what someone might be going through and how hard it might be for them. Try to give them the tools and resources that they can utilize on their own.
I'm her mom, and I knew she was overwhelmed at times and didn't know how to take the next step. Me telling her what to do wasn't the same thing as you telling her what to do. This, you know, it's mom again. And then if she didn't do it because she was overwhelmed, what's it going to tell me she didn't do it? So keeping her, you know, keeping it honest and giving, you know, real steps. I mean, when she just said leaving with something in hand, it's homework. They're pretty used to people assigning them tasks, you know, at this age. So leaving with homework, if you don't know the answer to that question, you know, go ask, you know, but then it's your answer to your question. The simplest things, like you need to call a provider. We had how many false starts? 4?
At least 3.
Yeah.
You know, I called and, you know, didn't get a call back. They said, you know, oh, find online, you can fill out this patient request form, and then it kind of was a dead end. I didn't really contact anyone. So there were a couple of times, and that made me discouraged. It's like, I tried, and nothing happened. No one reached out to me after I reached out, which made me feel kind of rejected and then less likely to do it again. I was like, well, it didn't work, so don't need to do it again.
So sometimes the handing off of the task, but then the did you do it and what happened, some follow-up would have been, you know, helpful. So there were false starts. There were, like she said, there were some great things that were done. Some great attempts were made, but there were definitely some missed opportunities. And I, as a parent, missed them as well. So we're really going to look to you as our guides through healthcare transition. You are our guides. You're the guides for the parents who you're supporting and letting go, the youth who you're supporting and taking on, and you're going to help us. And quite frankly, we're going to do it at different paces, and we're going to need different levels of support, and we're going to look like we've got it, and we won't. Or we're going to look totally overwhelmed, but we're going to leave and do it. So you're going to have to keep asking us, and please be patient. Please be patient, because we're going to not do it perfectly all the time.